Hi there, Northeast Michigan. This is Carter Landis, WBKB. I am in studio today with Township Trustee Steve Lappan. As you know, the midterm elections are coming up next week on Tuesday, and on the board is the millage request for the Alpena Township Fire Department. And you're here, we're going to talk about it a little bit. And just to start, I want to know, when people go to the polls, what are they voting for?
They're voting for a 3 mil increase in the fire millage. That fire millage will be used exclusively for fire department operations to include equipment, buildings, personnel, and sundry items that would be associated with the fire department.
Okay, and you said 3 mil. This would come from where?
We had done a rather extensive budget on this, and we learned that the 1.5 mils that we currently have is simply inadequate. And so once we pushed the numbers through and calculated out for a number of 10 years, we determined that 3 mils was the appropriate amount, not only to allow us to take care of all the current needs, but to look to the sort of the middle needs 5-6 years from now, and then hopefully well into the future, so that we don't have to come back to the township voters and ask them for more money.
Okay, and this was on the ballot in the primaries in August. Correct. As well, and it did not pass by a very slim margin. Yep. And I talked to Mark Hansen. He said that it was voter turnout that he thinks will kind of make a difference this time around. What do you think is going to be different this time around with the millage?
Well, we certainly hope so. We've been trying to get the word out as much as we possibly can on why this is important. The township, we're talking about 125 square miles of township and 9,200 people in the township, and it's important that our township have its own fire department and provide its own services now and well into the future.
Yeah, and you were telling me that you think this goes a little bit beyond just the millage and just the fire department. Can you tell me a little more about that? Well,
you know, there's been some discussions with contracting out the fire department, and I personally don't like that. The fire committee doesn't like that. We don't believe that in the long run that would be something that would be beneficial for the township. And if there just isn't an out. Once you sort of step into that area, it's complicated to get back out of that contract. And so that's why we as a fire committee decided that this was the best course of action now and long term.
Yeah, and you were saying it kind of can impact other places in the township, like resources that can move here. Like if they see that the town isn't willing to give it to the fire department, it could go, beyond that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I happen to think that economic development is critically important. The township is the largest municipality next to the city. Certainly geographically, it's much larger than other municipalities. And this is where things are happening. We know that, for example, in New Hampton will be being built in the township. And these companies that come into towns and do their demographics, they look at that sort of stuff and determine what does the township have? What does the city have for us, or the area have for us? And they'll look at things like fire departments and other services. So I think it's critical.
So it can be kind of like a domino effect.
I certainly think so. As someone who has been in this community and in business for a number of years, I absolutely think that those domino effects, as you said, can certainly, one domino can cause another domino to fall, and so on and so on and so on. And so, yeah, I think it's critical. To say nothing of, also the life safety aspect of things. If we can't respond to a fire or an emergency need in a timely period, people could die. And that's not good.
No. Yeah, I think you just answered my next question right there. When I talked to Fire Chief Mark Hansen, he said if it doesn't pass, it's going to make their daily operations a little bit more difficult to run on a day-to-day basis. And I just wanted to, yeah, and then I think you kind of nailed it right there. I was going to ask you, why is it important for voters to know that?
Well, as a township board, as a township trustee, then we have to make other decisions. If this doesn't pass, then we have to make other decisions. And those other decisions could mean reduced services, reduced hours, relying on more paid-on-call people, relying on mutual aid with other fire departments. It's not a healthy situation, and that's why we feel it's critically important.
Yeah, and then the other thing was that the National Fire Protection Association has a specific number of staff that they need, and that number is 9, and that was one of the things that I believe that the millage would also be used for. So I guess kind of
Yes.
same question is, why is that important for people to know as well?
Well, there are 2 stations, and those 2 stations need to be manned 24 hours a day, and those need to have 2 people in them, and so the minimum number really is 9. Ideally, we would have more, but we have to start somewhere, and we have to have a full complement of personnel in order to fulfill those NFPA, those National Fire Protection Agency expectations. So yeah, that money would certainly be used to do that. Plus, some of that money would be used to pay our people. We pay people like $13.82 an hour or something like that. That's not good.
Right. And when you mentioned that, if it doesn't pass, you'll have to look for other options. A while ago, Mark raised some money and got it approved at a meeting for the board to renovate the South Side station. Do you think it would be more of that, like you would be looking for community funding or things like that, or?
I don't think so. I think that you mean if it doesn't pass?
On the
Well,
chance
if it doesn't pass, then yeah, we might have to look at fee for services. If someone needs an assist in some fashion, we may have to consider a fee to do those sorts of things. It wouldn't be enough to operate the fire department, but it would be something to offset costs. Then we'd have to start looking for grants. We'd have to start looking for other funding sources, but it's not realistic, I don't think, to ask the general public to just sort of from time to time give us some money.
When people go to the polls on Tuesday and they see the millage on the ballot, what is the number one thing that they need to keep in mind when they cast their vote?
First of all, they have to vote their conscience. And what I guess I would say is that we want the people to look at today's needs and tomorrow's needs. We've done that, and we hope that they will trust in our work, that we've done enough homework on this and determine that that's what we need. And so when they go to the polls, they just vote their conscience, of course, and hopefully this will pass. And if it doesn't, then we go to plan B, whatever that might be.
All right, Mr. Lappan, that was all my questions for you. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, you did a great job. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much.
time.
Midterm elections next week on Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.